Howdy heck and hello H2Os, roller bros, and cracknacks alike. I'm your guide Q. Welcome back to the loveliness that is r slash Tales from Retail. We got some stuff from the subreddit, we got some stuff from the submissions email. It's gonna be a fantastic time, depending on what your idea of a fantastic time is. If you like hearing people get crazy, this is your sort of thing. Let's get into it. A long time ago when I was attending university, I worked part-time at a baby boutique that sold really fancy baby items. It's a small store owned by a local family. The return policy was as such. Refunds are credited onto a gift card or exchange only. I know that it was not the most accommodating return/exchange policy in the world, but I didn't make the rules. Refunds were only issued by the owner at her own discretion. Now to the story. A lady comes in with tears pouring down her face, carrying two baptism/christening outfits that she purchased a few days ago. She tells me that she has to return these outfits because her babies, twins, that she bought them for had just died in the hospital and she needs a refund. My heart just about leaps into my throat and tears start coming down my face as I feel so horrible for this mother. I ask her for the receipt and she says, "I don't have it, but you know that these are from here because you guys are the only ones that carry this brand in town." So I'm like, yes, you are absolutely right, feeling even more horrible and flustered for even asking. I then say, okay, no worries, I can still put the amount on a gift card for you. This was only followed by a wail of a sob, and the lady goes, "What am I going to do with a gift card? I don't even have any more babies to buy for." Oh my god, I could have just crawled under a table. I was mortified putting this poor woman through this. The owner is on vacation, of course, and I was alone and must say that this was a first for me. I was always trained that under no circumstance were we allowed to give cash refunds, but I mean, come on! This was clearly one of those special situations that surely warranted breaking the rules. I give the lady a full cash refund and she thanks me and is truly appreciative. She asked me if I know any other mothers that come in, and if I can recommend support groups or bereavement books. I told her that I do not personally know, but I'm sure there's lots of information on our local community board. She says thank you and hugs me, and feeling like I did a good deed, I hug her back and tell her to take care. When my boss returns from vacation, I tell her everything that happened. I was confused that her reaction was a little unfazed. She walked to the computer, did a little inventory check, and finds out that these items were not actually purchased, like they were showing that they were still in our store. In other words, this lady stole them and got a cash refund. My boss was able to confirm via security camera that this was true. There were no dead babies, just a sob story, and I felt like an idiot. I feel like this is actually a pretty common strategy of manipulative people that have the stomach to do something this extreme. They want to put you in a situation where they are a person that's going through something that you can't even imagine going through, and you want to accommodate them as much as possible, and you also can't call them out without looking like an absolutely insane person. I mean, who calls somebody out for lying about having dead children unless they have proof? I personally don't think you should feel like an idiot at all, because what was the alternative from your perspective? You send this woman that you thought was a grieving mother out the door even more upset than before because she isn't able to rid herself of these items and also does not have usable money that she can go out into the world and spend without going back to a store that reminds her of the children she's lost. So I think you did the best that you could in this situation. And to the fake grieving mother, I hope your life is exactly as miserable as it sounds like it would be for somebody to have to lie about having dead children. So I think you're getting everything that's coming to you. Alright, over to the submissions email. I work as a receptionist in a very well-known hotel chain in England. I know it's not technically retail, but my god, some of the tales I've picked up in the months I've worked there, and this one tops them all. It was a Monday evening around 6 p.m., and our hotel is large, around 130 rooms. We need 2 team members on reception to cover the amount of check-ins we get, and thank god we did. During the week, we mainly get business people and contractors staying, and occasionally the council will rent rooms for families waiting for permanent accommodation. This story is about someone trying to visit the latter. So me and my coworker M were helping a large queue of guests check in when a woman W carrying several large bin bags walked into the lobby. She stood there for about a minute trying to open the door into the hotel, but as you have to have a key card to access the rooms, she couldn't get through. She then proceeded to stride up to the check-in desk and demand that M let her through. As we were both busy, M explained to her that we'd be with her in a moment, and we weren't allowed to let anyone who wasn't staying with us through. Someone would have to come and get her. Side note, this is policy due to the fact that some of our guests, especially the ones who are with us through the housing aid, are trying to avoid people, and we've had some violent incidents before when people have just been let through without the guest's knowledge. That makes a lot of sense. She got very irate at that and started shouting that she was only here to see her family and told us their surname. Neither myself or M heard the name, so I had to ask her to repeat it. Wrong choice. She starts to verbally berate us in front of our guests, screaming at us before bolting through the door that 3 contractors had just gone through. M immediately ran after her, shouting that she couldn't be in the hotel without us knowing who she was, and I presumed she'd come back to reception and let us know who she was visiting. Wrong again. I was dealing with the next customer, apologizing for the stir in reception, when I heard shouting from the corridor. I apologized again to the guests waiting, locked the till, and ran through the door into the hotel to see what was happening. W was halfway down the hallway with M stood in front of her, and the 3 contractors just stood around looking dumbfounded. They were in a shouting match at this point, and W had started to physically push M backwards, so I began to run shouting for her to stop. M is an amazing woman and not someone to be trifled with. W pushed her a second time, and she'd clearly had enough and started trying to herd W back down the corridor. W threw a punch at M, and in the following scuffle between them, W bashed M's head into the wall, with M's hair tangled in her fist, and I had to physically pull W off. M told me to call the police and get the manager from the adjoining restaurant to help her out. As me and the manager, D, were running back through, she shoved past me to get out of the building. We followed her, telling her to stop, that the police needed to be called, but she started hurling insults at D, calling him a pervert for trying to stop her from leaving, before getting in my face with, "You wait till my baby daddy hears about this. You'll be dead. We know where you work." Honestly, at this point, I was running pretty high on adrenaline and started laughing, pointing to my uniform like, "Yeah, of course you do. You just assaulted my coworker, you daft mare." We couldn't stop her, and she ended up running to her car and speeding off. I went back inside and was on the phone with the police. I was very shaken up when an older woman and 2 kids came through from their rooms into reception asking what had happened. I had a feeling they were related to W, so I asked them to wait while I gave a description to the officer on the phone, and I could see her face drop. The young boy who was by her side helpfully piped up and said, "Oh, that must be Auntie W. She's not very nice to me either." Needless to say, the woman with him was not pleased at the fact that I now had her name to give to the authorities, and started to say that she'd spoken to W, and she was very upset. She was crying on the phone. I just had to say that honestly, I'm not too fussed about her feelings right now, because M was in the back room with concussion and a busted lip. Me, M, and the guest who witnessed the fight all gave statements, but M decided not to press charges, and luckily we've never seen her or her baby daddy since. M was pissed, but I guess that's not the worst thing to happen in the hotel, so I guess it could have been worse. I can't really imagine a situation in a hotel getting much worse than that, unless more bodily harm was done somehow, or there were more rambunctious people involved. Your coworker is a saint for not pressing charges. I mean, this person's clearly kind of freaking dangerous. So I really hope she has a lot of really good karma coming her way from deciding to be merciful to this woman that gave her a concussion and a busted lip. A few years ago, I worked at a toy store. It's in an area where conservative meets alternative, so it's a mishmash of parenting styles and behaviors from the kids. One interaction that stuck in my mind was a mother who looked like she rubbed a magical bong 3 times, wished for the greenie genie to teleport her and her beatnik-looking kid from Woodstock 69 to the 21st century. That is a hell of a description. Within 2 seconds of entering, the kid flies to the front counter where we keep all of the dollar toys. Stamps, rubber balls, fidget spinners, slinkies, those kinds of toys. He starts pulling out a pair of wooden airplanes from the shelf and begins to pretend dogfight. The mother flips out, and I can tell she wants to take the toys off of him, but is restraining herself. Instead, she just says, "Octopus! Octopus!" over and over again. It sounded like a command. At first, I assumed she named her kid Octopus. She was alternative after all. However, after she then said the name Snoopy, not a real name, I realized the kid's name was not Octopus, but we also didn't stock any aquatic animal toys where Snoopy was playing. The mother notices me watching from behind the register, and she looks at me apologetically. "Octomom, I'm sorry, he keeps touching the toys when I told him he could look around only." I wasn't mad, kids are kids, and plenty of them go nuts when they enter a toy store. Oh, was he looking for an octopus toy? Snoopy stops playing, just looks up at me, and the mother quickly hushes me and gets real close. "I'm trying to raise my boy with positive words. The real word is so negative, so I'm substituting it for octopus." What real word? She lowers her voice to a whisper. She is panicking that her answer might be overheard and undo 5 years of parenting and transform her son into a rebel that protects the establishment. 14th letter followed by 15th letter. It took me a bit to realize octopus was used instead of no. This kid is going to have a real weird time at the marine section in the zoo. This is the dumbest thing I have heard in a really long time. Words mean the meaning that you give to them. If you're the one teaching your kids words, it's still going to be like, "Oh, Mom, what does octopus mean?" Octopus means you don't do that. I'm asking you not to do that. It has the same meaning as no, so the word is just as negative. You just made it a different word that's going to make him develop slower because everybody else is going to be using no and he's going to be confused. This is so dumb, you're stupid. Hey, I'm gonna be making my triumphant return to Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna be playing a very casual horror game. It's called 3.04, and just talking to you guys. I'll be checking out the validation station on Twitter, which is where you guys can post pictures of yourself, your cats, your dogs, your artwork. Anything that's created by you can go there, and I'll check it out and tell you what I think. I usually love everything that you guys post there, but yeah, it should be a good time. I'm really excited to get back to it. I've just been in kind of a weird place where I didn't feel comfortable live streaming because I'm like, oh, what if something happens and I'm getting super depressed or something like that and don't want to continue the stream, but I'm feeling good today. Today feels like the perfect day to do it, so I'd be really excited to see you guys there. So skate on to the best of your abilities. Have an absolutely fantastic day. Make sure you are ingesting the proper amount of water. It will enhance your life in fantastic ways, and I will see you very soon.